Wonder about the future and how you'll be working and learning? Welcome to You in 2042, the future of work, with your host, Danielle Wallace.
Welcome to another edition of You in 2042. Joining me today is Jihan.
Hi, Danielle. Yes, so my name is Jihan Cercado. I am a senior learning consultant with the Bank of Montreal and have been in the learning and design world for quite some time now, probably for about 10 years. It's been such a passion.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
You know, originally, when I had first thought about it, I thought I had a clear picture in my head as to what I thought 2042 might bring. But in the past 2 weeks, my world has just moved so quickly that all of a sudden I have to rethink that. The pace of change right now is happening so quickly. It's more personalized, as well as things are fast, they're instantaneous. And looking back 20 years ago, and I started off in the banking industry as a teller, and we had color-coded deposit forms and color-coded withdrawal forms,
Oh my gosh.
paper that a customer, a client has to fill out. And fast forward to now, and you can do your banking over the phone. There is no cash exchange. 20 years from now, like, can you imagine what that's going to be like? First of all, those Facebook marketplace items that we're seeing now, or any goods and services, are probably just going to come to our door instantaneously. In terms of the money exchange, I don't even think that we would have currency. I think it's all just going to be virtual. It's not even going to be in the palm of our hand. It's probably going to be already attached to our wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the pace of change is just moving so quickly that it's hard to imagine, apart from the need for us to be empathetic, also our ability to be instantaneous, but at the same time patient with technology. And then also have that human-centeredness around our people, humankind. I think the technology is going to be evolving so quickly that, as cliche as it may sound, that we're going to have robots. So definitely do think that that's the case. I mean, who would have thought Roomba would have existed 20 years ago?
I love what you're saying, because it both reflects how far we've come in the past 20 years, but you've highlighted even more so the past 2 weeks and how much change there is that. So compress all that 20 years ago into your past 2 weeks, and in the pace of change and remote work and that need for patience as well as instantaneous. So both.
Totally, yes. It's a two totally different concepts, right? I mean, I think that there's going to be the ability to give people instant gratification almost. I mean, we're on our phones and we want information like that, and we get it like that. But at the same time, in order for us to be able to get quality, solid information, or even the expertise from, let's say, a doctor, you may have to source that out. And I have heard of a doctor that's actually asking patients what their self-diagnosis is, because they've already looked at all the sources all over the internet before he even gives the diagnosis. So I think it's going to evolve like that further. Perhaps it might even be a doctor that a robotic doctor, and we already have WebMD, and we have so many of those different kinds of sources already.
I can see the future workplace really changing with that, with interactions with robots as you speak. And so it really highlights what our role then as people, as humans in the workplace. You spoke about the needs for being empathetic, having this human-centered approach. What do you think learning and development can do to help with that or this future crazy, crazy fast moving
Mm,
workplace?
Hmm. I think with all the technology around us, and with all the technology in the workplace that's going to evolve, I really do think that we as humans, as coworkers, need to be able to be empathetic with each other and almost know and be able to step into the other person's shoes. We're not necessarily going to constantly be face to face or be in the same room with somebody and know that they're having a bad day. And that's certainly something that we have to ask and deliberately get from the other person, just so that you can have that working relationship and be able to achieve a goal where in the past we would just kind of, turn over, elbow someone and say, hey, what do you think of this draft? Whereas now you may not necessarily get the draft review that you've been looking for. You'd have to schedule time, you have to be patient, but at the same time, you send it to them instantaneously, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get
That's
at it
true.
so quickly, right?
The technology is instant, but the people are not. And
Yes,
I like what you're saying because it's almost this need for this deliberate empathy on scale, though. Like it's not just a few people, it's like on scale. It's that workforce, the whole
abs-
workforce that needs that in order to achieve the
absolutely.
goal.
Absolutely. And, I think as a learning and development professional, a lot of the workforce and the learners these days have got access to learning materials. But the empathy comes in where we want to be able to know what is it that they don't grasp, what is it that they need help on, or what is it that they're struggling with. And I think that's where the empathy comes in. And if we can tie that in and have that mechanized, that would be great. But that's not something that can easily be mechanized, and that's where humans are still needed, right? And I think that's where the human-centered approach would really come in.
I love it. Thank you so much. I love that you're just speaking about the human-centered approach and having that empathy to really complement the skills as we as learning and development professionals can provide on the future workforce. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're
Really
welcome. That was so
fantastic.
much fun to envision what the future is going to hold.
Thank you.
You're welcome.